This leads to dysfunction in families. This leads to abuse. This leads to people killing themselves. This is not just a small issue. A man without a purpose is a walking dead man. And in this video, I'm gonna explain why. So yeah, I'm very excited to make this video. I feel like this is the first time I'm kind of targeting men in any of my projects before. This video is a direct message to Gen Z men in the generation below me, Generation Alpha, and even millennials and beyond. I'm making this video because I feel very passionate about this, and I think it is a very necessary topic to speak on when it comes to living an amazing and fulfilling life. This became sparked inside of me after speaking to many people throughout the last few years of my life, as I've gone through self-development, self-help, all those things, and have interacted with people. And when I do so, I often pose questions about, like, what are your goals? What are you passionate about? Stuff related to what I will call purpose and what I'll explain in this video. So stick around for that. I'll explain what I'm talking about, really. But my general premise for why I'm coming at this is because when I speak to people and I ask those questions, they always meet me with this sense of zombie-like deadness in their eyes, unless it's like a very rare case. But most of the time, people don't have an answer to questions like, what are your goals? What do you care about? What do you want to do? Like, what fires you up in life? And I never get it. And this isn't to mention, all those studies about how mental health in the United States is going to shit. It's going into the rocker. Everyone feels like they don't have a sense of meaning. People don't feel like they're happy. Like, there's so much mental health problems. I feel that the concept, not only the concept, the embodiment of purpose is fundamental to living the life that you want. And I'm targeting it to men in particular because this is what I feel is the essence of masculinity. Healthy masculinity, not red pill masculinity, not Andrew Tate masculinity, not these videos you see on YouTube about what it means to be a man and their unhealthy embodiments of that. No. So if you are a man in my generation, please stick around, because I feel what I'm sharing to you is the literal equivalent of gold in terms of value for your own life. Let's do this. Now, what is purpose? I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what my goals are. When I think about my goals and my vision for the future of my own life, I feel fired up. I feel emotionally stirred and just like a sense of optimism and excitement for what's to come. And that, I feel, is the essence of what captures purpose. To better illustrate my point, I'm gonna read out very specific examples and quotes that I came up with, and I want you to see, do any of these resonate with you or feel like you relate to them in any way? I keep buying stuff I don't need. I chase women all the time. I comment on thirst traps on social media. I'm constantly playing video games. Anything to distract myself from that feeling like I'm wasting my life. But the emptiness always comes back. I make good money at my job. I have a nice apartment, but I still feel empty inside. Like I'm just going through the motions every day. Is this all there really is? Sometimes I look in the mirror and don't even recognize who I've become. When I was younger, I had all these dreams and ambitions. Now I'm much older and I feel like I'm just existing, not living. Think to yourself for a moment and contemplate this. Do any of those examples feel resonant to you? Do they feel real and alive in any way? Do they reflect a sad reality that you may be living yourself? Purpose is what I feel is to be the core essence of what masculine energy is. If we think about and ask ourselves, what is masculinity? I think it's important to think about what is femininity, the counterpart to this. Now, as men and women, we both have masculine and feminine energies inside of us. Some more than others, some less than others. Depends on who we are. But of course, men, are more traditionally seen as more masculine because they're men. And women are seen as more feminine because they're feminine. And if we think about in tribal times, how we used to live as hunter-gatherers, what would the men be doing? They would be going out and they'd be scavenging and gaining resources. Resources in the form of food, shelter, and just general protection for the tribe itself. For the men, the women, and the children. all for the sense of safety and survival. The men had to get up early in the morning, they had to go out into nature, and with a sense of directness, like a straight arrow going for things, sometimes literally killing things like animals to get food, they would provide that. Now, it's like, that's a very like raw example, but what I'm trying to get at is the man provided that sense of directness and strong energy as a straightforward arrow. They had goals in a way, not in the same goals that you would think of, today. I don't think any of us are going to scavenge or gather food or hunt or anything like that, but it's the same principle. And they had a fire in them because the thing is they had to. What would happen if they didn't provide those resources? Everyone would die. They'd all be doomed. And so because of that, it was a life or death situation back then. They had to be urgent. They had to have purpose. And so if we fast forward to today, us as men, we're in modern society. We have the beauty of the comforts and protection of not having to live in such a shitty way out in nature, scavenging. We have technology, we have, houses and food and shelter and amazing inventions that have created the most amazing possibilities for humanity. And those things are all fine and they're great. But like, what is the consequence of that? Well, again, like I mentioned with the people that I meet in modern day today, if we look at people, modern day mental health statistics are at an all-time low. People don't feel like they have meaning. They don't feel like they have a purpose in their life, and people are just sad and depressed. There's many different factors contributing to that. But when I think about it from the context of being a man, I think what has happened is the complacency and the safety that modern society has provided is a lack of purpose because there's no sense of urgency. I usually don't feel much pressure or nervous when I'm making videos, but today I feel particularly a bit of pressure I'm putting on myself because I care about this topic so very much that I just want to get it right. But at the end of the day, I just have to hit record and just let whatever comes out of my mouth comes out and know that I just tried my best. Why is purpose important? For me to get at this point as best as I possibly can, I want to speak from my own experience of what it's been like to live without and with purpose. That's starting when I was around in middle school, through high school, and parts of college. I grew up with social anxiety. I was depressed. I was sad all the time. I had a lot of mental health struggles. And that led me down the path of learning about self-development, growth, meditation, all those things. And that greatly helped my life. But before that, like I mentioned, I went through all of life aimless. I didn't feel happy about my life. I sought validation outside of myself, that being from social media, from addictive behaviors like scrolling or just watching YouTube videos, video games, from girls, everything that wasn't me, internally validating myself. And as a result, I was miserable. I felt like the soul of my own life was gone. There was no engine. There was nothing that was actually there to direct me, and where I felt like I had a positive outlook on things. And of course, as I got into all this self-help stuff, one of the most valuable things I ever did for me was discovering and asking, what am I passionate about? What do I really care about? What do I want out of life mostly? That was a journal prompt I spent a lot of time journaling over and over and over again. What do I find meaningful? What do I want? And as I tried different things, I got back into YouTube about 2020. When I started making this channel again and started making videos, I realized how much I love it. I love speaking about these topics and whatnot. I love hosting events about meditation and just, going through college, discovering who I am, going through the process of childhood, or basically the period under 25 years old, or it doesn't have to be that year, but in general, the years up to 25 years old are the most formative of your life. I felt very clear on what I started to really like and what I didn't like, and how I, in particular, knowing who I am, what I like, what I'm good at, how I can impact people or the world. And as that became very clear to me over the years, I started to feel a sense of strength in my own identity, who I am, what I want to go after, this directness, this sense of, I feel alive when I'm in these certain states of being. When I'm editing a video here, I feel so happy. I feel like I'm in flow. I feel strong. I feel powerful. I feel fulfilled. If you're the type of person who, for example, you feel like a sense of doom for the future, or you feel like the best years of your life are past. I see these terrible memes all the time on Instagram Reels where it's like, oh, POV, you're back in 2016. POV, you're back in 2019. The meme is like they feel happy all the time being in the past. Such a terrible thing. And I don't relate to those memes at all. Neither do I relate to the idea that the future is doomed. Yes, there's a lot of things about society that need to be changed and fixed, healed even, but I do not relate at all to this notion that the future sucks, like the things are gonna go bad. For my own life, I'm excited about my life. I'm fired up about my life. I'm so excited to achieve and accomplish the goals that I set out for myself, and I'm gonna keep working with that. And that to me is the essence of what it means to have a purpose. I call it life purpose. Purpose gives me strength. Through the darkest times in my life, I feel like I have a home base to return to. Because when it comes to having a purpose, that, unlike the things I mentioned in the past, what I used to cope with, girls, social media, chasing validation in other forms, purpose is internal. You can't externalize purpose. It only becomes external from you. You are creating things in your life. You are the source of value that you're providing, whether as a leader, an innovator, a creator, and this could be anything. For me, I love talking on YouTube and making YouTube videos. I love filmmaking, but for you, that could be something completely different. If you're in computer science, you might want to become a software engineer and you have a very particular passion you have in technology that you want to, create in the world, whether it's with AI or anything like that. You may have these ideas about becoming a great filmmaker and you want to work in Hollywood. You want to be like the next Quentin Tarantino or David Lynch or Martin Scorsese. And there's nothing wrong about not knowing who you are yet. That's okay. But my main point is you have this essence of what you want to discover and realize as a man in your life. And as a man, you having that makes you a better leader. It makes you a better friend. It makes you a source of value. The more masculine energy you have, aka you're like, if you're a man, and this applies to women too, I'm just saying, but like as a man, you're traditionally more masculine. You're filling that need you have, that genuine desire to give. You have that and you want to provide that, so you give that out. And without that, you're killing any sense of happiness, joy, and you're less resilient because when adversity comes your way, you have no internal fulfillment of strength. So as a result, when everything outside of you goes to shit, you're doomed as a person. And then what do we get? Mental illness, people who are depressed and sad all the time, people who are fighting all the time. This leads to dysfunction in families. This leads to abuse. This leads to people killing themselves. This is not just a small issue. People's lives are at stake when you don't have a purpose. And you're hurting yourself and you're hurting the people around you when you don't have that. And that's why it's so important to realize that. How did I do it? How do I realize purpose in my life? Now, I don't really like this question because it presupposes this idea that your purpose is outside of you and then you have to go like chasing for it and looking for it and you're confused and you don't really know. When I talk about having purpose as a man, it's not about having the information. It's like when I look at videos of, say, someone like Steve Irwin, I want to like cry a lot of the time when I watch those videos. Like there's this one clip on YouTube of him with a mom orangutan and her child, and he gets so emotional just being able to connect with that animal. Just in general, when I see Steve Irwin talk in interviews, I feel so inspired because he's like the premier example of what passion is. So much ever-flowing love and deep caring about what his niche and field is as a person, like whatever his interests are, that serve a greater cause outside of himself. In that case, wildlife, and that impacts the whole world. There are times in your life when you're going to want to experiment, and times in your life when you kind of have an idea of what you want, you go after it. But through everything, every season will call forth for you to have goals for yourself that you're set on and that you care about because they give you real healthy fulfillment. Not sex, not women, not drugs, not money, not validation on social media or pleasing your peers or social media group or the people at high school or college. No. It's about making a decision in your identity that you're going after a different kind of life than what most people live. You're going after a life that you're proud of. You feel love for what you do, and as a consequential result, you are loving yourself because of that, because what you go after is a part of you, what you care about. The things I've done to like kind of realize this point in my life, what I love, and like going after my purpose or whatever, it may not work for you, but I'll just share it off the top of my head. But again, this stuff is not necessarily gonna like, it's not like everything I do is gonna work for you. That being said, as I've gone through my life, I found that journaling about things about what I want, asking myself, what do I want out of life? What is most meaningful to me in life? What am I most passionate about? Going out and experimenting things, trying different activities and career types. I've done computer science, I've done different creative types of work before, I've done different types of videos before. And you know, as I go through life and experience different things, I ask myself, how do I like this? Like, do I resonate with this? And when I have that deep connection to it, I feel something type of way. For example, when I started recording videos, I've always felt this sense of like, a switch flips in me and I get into this flow state and I enjoy doing it so much, and editing a video is so much fun. So that helped me get to this point. In general, deciding that the life of external validation and wanting to follow other people and what they do, getting validation from that is not the type of life I want to live. Ultimately, choosing to live with purpose is making a lifelong decision to accept a call to the hero's journey. Ultimately, choosing to live with purpose is choosing a life of living the hero's journey. And as you go forth with that, you're going to be amongst very few people. But as you choose to live with purpose, you're giving out of your own gifts of what resonates with you is what resonates with other people. And that will inspire and help them to see what they care about. Because when you're winning, other people are winning. And that is something that heals the people around you. You as a man going out and doing that helps someone look into their own eyes and see, what could I do that makes me feel happy and passionate? So I want to hear about what resonates with you. What is your passion? What is your purpose? What are some goals you ought to set forth for yourself, even if that's just going out and trying to look for your own purpose? Whatever stage of the journey you're at, as long as you're giving your all, that's all that really matters. With great power and great responsibility always, Joe.